facilities.
Very well said. So definitely community involvement is a very big component of Midnight Farm.
Yeah.
Right? Well, there's lots more to see at Midnight Farm, including some of the primary residents, the animals. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Home and Away, where we're visiting Midnight Farm in Baldwin City. My guests are Mike Strauss and Allison Frizzell. When we left off, we were in this lodge area talking about the community involvement. What fascinates me is that you've really given a lot of foresight. For example, this lodge we're in that we're talking about, there's a complete kitchen here, and you mentioned that down the road you hope to have this horticulture center grow products like a working farm would. You'll have classes on how to can these products, and then a place over here to the back of me where you can sell the products. So it's really a learning, not only a community involvement, but a learning process, as well as being tied into fundraising for location itself.
Yeah, a combination of, it's hard to tell what is learning and what's volunteers and what's services. It's all going to be intermixed, but Farmyard Farms has introduced us to this thing called high tunnels. And that's an incredible technology, which I think Lawrence will really enjoy. It is a technology for concentrated growing a large amount of products in a small space. So it's really small acre farming at its best. And so we will have strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, and tomatoes will be probably our primary crops, and we will produce those in our high tunnels, which is going to cover about 2.5 acres. And then we will sell those at farmers markets, and we will sell them here and do what I call event farming, much like they would do with pumpkin patches or anything like that. You don't just come for the product, you come for some more things.
Let's talk about the areas where the horses are. There's some really state-of-the-art stalls that have a great feeding component and that lead out into individual outdoor runs.
Yeah, each horse has access to an outdoor run. We also have a pasture for other times for them, but in the stall it's designed so somebody with a disability can actually feed on the outside by turning the feeder around and putting the feed in the hay in, and then turning it back around so that the horse can eat and without having to go in the stall. And we've tried to design everything not only to be accessible, but so that people with disabilities can be taught a large percentage of the responsibilities without any issues of safety.
I think that's very evident. As you go through, I know we toured the tack room facilities the other day where there are care kits for each horse, and not only is it accessible, but you're right, very well organized. A chalkboard in that room, and then you go into the tack stall where the horses can be mounted and the saddle can be put on. Then people can go into the indoor arena, and again, very accessible to the point of having walkers. You took me through the process the other day, a ramped area, and even an area where people can actually be lifted onto the horse.
Yeah, we have, you may not have seen it because it was recently installed, we have a state-of-the-art lift that actually can lift an individual with disabilities up onto the horse. It has all been designed, and we visited some of the best places in the country prior to developing this. So, I would have to say that we've taken pieces of what we've done. One of the most important parts of it is the flow of how all that works. There's never, for example, an instance where horses cross paths. So everything is all one way and is designed so that safety is the most important thing. And that actually, I will let you know, that probably starts with the horse, the training of the horse, and all of those sorts of things.
I was just going to ask you about that because I know the selection process is crucial. Tell us what kinds of animals are here and how they're selected.
Yeah, well, I'm probably most proud of that because that's some of the stuff that Colleen, who's the director in our family, has been involved with. My daughter shows nationally, and we are connected to the show industry fairly much, and so we've been able to have horses donated from with amazing credentials. We have 2 or 3 world champion horses that are in the 12-year-old range that have been, one donated from the University of Georgia, one is donated from a local family that was a world champion all around horse. These are horses that have done multiple events for many years and have been around crowds, and they have all of these skill sets that takes years to train, that we have now benefited from. And so if I do have a child, but if I had a child, my child has been riding since she was 4, but if I had a child who was 4 or 5 and I wanted them to learn how to ride a horse, I would want them to ride these horses.
I know Rick the draft horse is a pretty popular guy around here. Tell us about Rick.
Well, before we got Rick, I was looking for, I just knew the draft horse had to be named Samson. So,
Right.
But things just sometimes don't work out, but in this case it really did. We have been seeking a draft horse across the country, and we had donations for that, and for months, and we were very, very fortunate to find this particular horse in Rockport, Illinois. We interacted with the owners many times. He was part of an Amish family for 10 years, and then he was with a retired couple that had lots of driving and lots of grandkids and lots of parades, and this particular horse has led the parade in front of the fire truck, and it had all the skills that we were looking for, and was able to teach people like me how to drive. I've had a horse experience, but he's teaching us a lot. It's an amazing animal, and we have a draft horse, a wagon. We will be doing regular rides for kids and for adults with disabilities, and he is in his element and one of the kindest and happiest horses you could possibly imagine. In fact, if you rank order the size from the 30-inch, to this almost 18-hand, 2,000-pound animal, he is the most gentle and the kid-friendliest, and he has his head with the kids. We're ecstatic about it, and probably you'll get to see we'll do a drive with you so that you'll get a chance to see firsthand how Rick does.
Now, I know there's a petting paddock, plans for an underground fence, so that very open area. Tell us what kind of animals we'll find out there, Allison.
Well, we have the famous fainting goat,
Yes,
Cody.
Cody the fainting goat.
And we've got 2 alpacas, is that right?
Ivan and Ramundo, who are 2 alpacas that's been shaved except for their heads. So they look like giraffes that are with a fuzzy poodle right now.
And
So
there's Bandit the donkey?
the spotted miniature donkey.
Right, and a couple of ponies.
A couple of miniature horses, actually.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Miniature horses. They're just 31 inches tall. But our plans are to train the ponies to underground fences and make it an extremely large area, so they're able to actually intermingle with people who may walk on the trails and do some things like that, so that we have the people with disabilities that don't have to go through any barriers to go and pet a petting paddock animal. And you may be on a trail and you may run across the fainting goat. And if you are surprised by that and make a noise, he may faint.
I can't wait to see that. I've got to see that to believe it, I have to tell you. Animals, very big part of what Midnight Farm is. Residential component is also a part of Midnight Farm. We'll talk about that when we return. Please stay with us.